Hi everyone, this is Sameer Singh Jaini here. Welcome to another knowledge session with our esteemed panelists here. I think as I know, there's a lot of you are in the process of joining, and as I see, onboarding is happening continuously. So I think idea of this session is largely is to give you a guidance on how the whole data and property data intelligence is improving the market and how it is helping the HLF business, right? HLF business, which is the largest business in the country on the credit side, how it is changing. So to have this to start on this, I have with me one dear friend of mine, Narendra. Narendra has been we have been closely associated for years, right? I think more like family than anything else. And we talk to each other every day. And we also have Vivek here, expert in the prop tech side of all kinds. I think the variety of work he has done. And I remember him the day we started talking to him, maybe eight and a half years back when he was actually building it up. So maybe a quick introduction from your side, Narendra. Maybe you can spend 30 seconds on maybe what work you do and manage, and then maybe 30 seconds from Wake you, and then we'll go through the session, please. Over to you, Narendra.
Thanks, Samir. Good afternoon. I am Narendra. So I head retail and agri loan in DCB Bank. So in total, I have 20 years of experience. So my domain knowledge is about retail lending and agri lending. And prior to DCB Bank, I worked in Rallis India Limited, ICICI Bank, and it will be a pleasure interacting with all of you today.
Thank you, Narendra. Thank you. Vivek, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Samir, for having me here. My name is Vivek. I am co-founder and CTO of Square Yards. So, Square Yards is one of the largest integrated real estate platform in India. We started with real estate transactions, and fast forward to 10 years, we are the largest player in this segment. Apart from real estate, we also ventured into sub-segments of the real estate value chain, which is mortgage, home loan, interiors, property management, so on and so forth. And we have built an entire ecosystem towards real estate. And in the last couple of years, we also started dabbling into data. And we have collected like millions of data points, which I'll talk about it, and how we are enabling lenders make informed decisions through this data intelligence. So that's about me and a bit about Square Yards.
Thank you, Vivek. Thank you, Vivek. So I think I'll quickly introduce ourselves. We are Digital Fifth. We are primarily a consulting firm focused on digital finance. So we work with a lot of banks and entities in the market. And of course, many of you would have attended training classes and all of that. And Bharat Fintech Summit is an anchor session, which is again going to come in February. And I'm sure many of us will be there as well. This set of customers we have worked across from largest of the banks to small finance bank to a lending companies and a lot of LAP and other business. One of the reasons why we are doing this session is that we believe that LAP and micro LAP and the home loan business it needs dramatic improvement, and we've worked with a lot of people in the market and we've learned. So I think some of this is based on what work in the market as well. We do consulting, go to market and training for a lot of people, but of course, anchor program and work is consulting, and we should work with people in the market. I think I just want to give you a historical context of lending market so that sometimes when we say yes, ho nahi sakta, that's a context I wanted to quickly bring. I think 8, 10 years back, when we thought about a personal loan, we always thought that this can only be 2 to 5 lakh rupees. And again, context 2 to 5 lakhs rupees or 10 years back. And you couldn't do less than that because you couldn't onboard a customer. So biggest cost in any business is cost of acquisition, which is typically in PL business used to be 10 to 30,000 rupees. Now, over a period of time, that has down dramatically because of digitization, journey improvement, and a lot of work, right? I think a lot of work has happened on the account aggregator to a bureau, to all of that, and eNash, and everything improved. Similar thing has happened on the business loan side, where now moving towards a day or 2 days of loan, and the CAC is coming down more toward 2000. Not really all the time, but it can be optimized if we do it right. And again, for that, you have Udyam and all. We've worked across both, and we've found dramatic improvements. Now, when it comes to these, think about it. We are right now still working on HLF business. which operates between 20,000 to 30,000 on an onboarding cost, and it is bunch of activities. It's a sales cost, it's a cost of credit, cost of also the data which you get from market, which is the property related data as well as legal, and all of that mixed together. So every segment, every to be optimized, and there is a need for us to change it. So I think that's the session is around that. We believe that with the kind of innovation which are happening, some of them are happening in terms of how valuation is improving. Valuation can be done upfront, can because the data is known. We know which property is which location. If we can figure out how to get the data upfront and early and as much accurate as possible, you can actually quicken the process of underwriting the property as well. And of course, if you feel that property price is way off, you can remove. Same is the case with on the legal side as well. There is so much of innovation happening out there. Let's say digital TS is not there. It's available right now. There's work which has happened by the states, which we ought to use, right? So that's the intent of it. And I believe that if we as an ecosystem work together, we can bring down the turnaround time from 25 days to say 2 days for a pre-approved, and maybe a new one will be 3 to 7 days, and cost reduction dramatic, duplication of work dramatically less, and all of that. So this is something which we have been able to do in the market, but I also believe that there's so much can be done. Because every time there's a cost attached to helps. Today, 18 to 20 people touch a loan, it has to be brought down. With this, the intent in the market. So with this being the intent, uh, I'll quickly sort of go back to the session itself, and maybe I'll just quickly move to another slide and then come back. Basically, what are you thinking and what the thought process is? What are the various data points? What are the data sources? How real-time insights can be helpful? So that's largely what we will learn from our esteemed participants and fellow panels here. Critical point, I know that so many of you are there at this point of time. I'm shocked at 140 people being there. Now, all of you being there, I would want you to raise questions as well. So you can put on chat, and I'll try to ensure that those questions get asked. With this, I go ahead with the first question to you, Narendra. And I think the first question to you, very, very direct one is, maybe from a lot of people don't know what HL Lab business is, mortgages, and flavor of technology within it. So maybe you can do a quick brief of how this works and what is possible with this HL Labs.
Thanks, Amir. If you look at the home loan market in the country, it is roughly around 41 lakh crores. And if you look at the loan against property, that's around 14 lakh crores. I would also take this opportunity to add another product, which is Kisan Credit Card, which is largely also against agricultural land if the loan is above 1.6 lakh. So the market size of Kisan Credit Card is around 8 lakh crores. So if you add all these three numbers, 63 lakh crores of market where the primary security is the collateral. In addition to this, there are secured SME loans where property is not the primary security, but property is a collateral. So 63 lakh crore is the direct property related business, and if you take property as the collateral, the universe is much larger. Now, how do the financial institutions evaluate when they're giving a loan? Broadly, there are 2 points in case of a secured property based loan. One is the assessment, which is called credit assessment, where we look at ability to pay and intention to pay. The credit assessment through various business rule engines, which we popularly called as BRE, has evolved over a time. They use deep bureau data, scorecards, various demographic data, and that has been quite in place in the market. Whereas the second leg, which is the collateral part, the collateral assessment, there is a lot to be done because that is in more evolving phase. Because the collateral thing broadly needs two aspects. One is the valuation, and the other is the legal. So valuation is typically done by a valuers, which actually is currently very disjointed, disintegrated, and disaggregated because multiple valuers do it for the banks. And the second one is the legal. Some states have become digital, but most states are still not automated or digital. So the banks use empaneled lawyers, and some cases also financial institutions also use in-house lawyers, valuers to do this assessment. So there is a lot of scope to automate to digitize, simplify, and make the process much faster, particularly on the collateral side. Whereas much of the work on the credit risk assessment, the income assessment has been done. I think this is quite pertinent that we have a seminar on the second aspect where there is scope of lot of improvement. Thanks, Amit.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I think given the context and the size of the market, right, we are talking about, I don't know how many zeros are there after whatever the number you said, but it's very large. And that's what the intent was. We look at bigger opportunities. So Vivek, me and Vivek met, I think he was getting into that scaling this business. And from there to now, when we go to any lender out in the market, everybody knows where Square Yards and what they work in. And many of them are partnering with them already. So maybe you can quickly give us a view on what exactly is property data analytics and maybe a bit about company as well, because that will give a context on where you are coming from and what is possible in the market with the data.
Sure, Samir. So let me just start with probably what is Square Yards, right? I hope everyone can see my screen, right?
It's visible.
A lot of people in real estate would know us, but lot less people in fintech would know about us. So let me just start with Square Yards background. So we started as a real estate brokerage company around 10 years back. And fast forward to now, we are by far the largest real estate transaction platform in the country. On a yearly basis, we sell close to 2.5 billion worth of properties, right? And over the years, we have actually scaled up to various associated verticals along with real estate. So the first one was of course mortgage. The problem was as big as real estate. So we are now uh, probably among the top two mortgage distributors in the country. We also ventured into home interiors, rentals, property management, so on and so forth. So essentially, we are the largest platform by GTV, both real estate, mortgage, everything combined together. We sold properties and facilitated dispersals of around 7.5 billion, close to 165,000 transactions in a year. So that is about Square Yards. We operate in 9 countries, 7,000 employees. I head the tech team. I am also one of the co-founders, and Anirudh, who is also on the webinar, he heads the data science and analytics team within Square Yards. So that's about Square Yards. So as I said that, I think Samir, you mentioned about prop tech, right? So prop tech, so we started with a basic search and discovery platform. We enable transactions. We have transactional enablement tools like inventories, online inventory, payment e-signatures. We help borrowing, interiors, property management. So we have digitized. So this journey is actually essentially a online to offline journey, but we have digitized many parts of this value chain. And coming specifically to the home loan or the mortgage fulfillment, right? As Narendra sir was also saying that a lot of part of customers' individual assessment have been digitized. And Samir, you mentioned how personal loans and business loans, they have actually the TAT has been reduced to a few minutes or a few days, right? But when we started selling these properties, we realized that most 70% of the properties that we sell, they go through the home loan journey. But the home loan itself takes around 25, sometimes 30 days, sometimes 45 days. The cancellation rates are high. Banks were there are a lot many to and fro processes. So essentially what we realized that mortgage was basically afterthought within the property world, right? So first someone sells a property and then ki mortgage kaise hua wo dekhenge. And then the processes are disjointed. There are legal technical checks, valuation. The paperwork is extensive, right? There are hundreds of pages of documents that you have to sign. Imagine like you are going, if you go to a car showroom today, you walk out with a car and the car loan dispersed instantly on the spot. But once you buy a property, there are like 6 or 7 set of documents within the builder, buyer, seller, agent, mortgage agent. So all of these together. So there is too much to and fro. And then the legal technical process starts. So this entire thing takes around 45 to 60 days. So when we went deep into reasons of it, we realized that, I mean, there is a process problem, right? Because the industry has been a laggard. Real estate is probably the last bastion to be fully digitized, right? But essentially, there is a lack of data. So the data which is required for a lending decision, especially with respect to the property decision, is there, but it is not in a structured format. So we started, along with our data intelligence team, we started working on this problem. Okay, and we realized that what is the data which is required for a legal technical check or a valuation decision, right? What is a property? How should a property scorecard be? Okay, so we, for last 2 3 years, when we assembled this data team, okay, so we had this our ecosystem data already in place on our portal. There are like 1 million listings where the agents and the owners put their listings. So there are some information coming from that side. We ourselves do so many transactions, right? We have a network of agents who work with us. We closely watch demand signals on our website, right? So all of this data we were already gathering. We started gathering this government data, which is public, by the way. So all of this, like, they are RERA portals, IGR portals, proper. So you can get this data, but this data was not structured. This data was in vernacular languages. They are not standardized. Someone calls it something, some other state calls the same thing, other thing, right? So we we started building this data layer where we brought all of this data together, right? And we developed some kind of data dictionary. Okay, so like if you go to a IGR website and you want to search for a transaction, you first have to select a village, ward, khata, CTS plot. So like people are not aware of it. So we digitize this on a GIS platform where you can actually search by project names, by localities, by pin codes, right? Or by a lat long. And then we started building analytics layer on top of it, which is essentially your, how can we actually triangulate all of this data together into a AVM or a title search, which is digitized. Okay, of course, I mean, it's a desktop valuation or a desktop search only because no one is visiting the site. And on top of this, we built some visualization layers like heat maps, price trends, project monitoring reports, so on and so forth. So essentially, this is the ecosystem that we have built, gathering all of this data together, bringing it onto a single platform, and then giving lenders access to this platform, either through APIs or through our own portal or embeddable widgets. I mean, there are options available where we are providing these services.
Perfect.
And
Perfect. Thank you.
I'll
Thank you.
talk in the later part. I'll talk about individual some of these services so that people
Yeah.
are aware. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Vivek. Thank you, Vivek. So, Narendra, I think you've worked across all kind of credit domains, right? And you headed most of them. So, I think the industry has been able to solve all challenges in other areas, maybe at a broad level. Why HLNAP has remained untapped? We'll come to the solutions more deeper later, but why does it remain untapped? And why is crucial for lenders to do it? Because the point is, until there's a need, nobody will act on it. And my perception is there's so much of inefficiency built in. So, any thoughts on why this should be done, and what scale is required? What is the problem statement, and how do you solve for it?
So if you look at the property market in the country, it's quite fragmented. So land and property is a state subject. So each state has different laws which actually govern that, and there are different units and different ways things get evaluated in each state. Like for example, if supposing you want to talk about the land, in some places it is called gunt, some places it is called bigha, and so there is a lot of geographical variation in case of property because of its localization and fragmentation. That is a first problem. And the second is that we have a lot of legacy data which is not automated.
Mhm.
although quite a few states they have actually automated the land ownership data, but but those have not been done properly in many states, and the data is evolving. So one is the availability of data, and the second, although the IGR data is getting automated, like as Vivek said, but that is for few states. Still, there are many states the IGR data is still not automated by the digital players, because it's not available, or they are not able to do. So the critical factor, underlying factor, is the data availability. And the third factor is that if you look at the permissions required to construct a house or a commercial building, that varies across geographies. Somewhere the development authorities, somewhere the panchayat. So then there are various laws which govern it. So that is why the valuation of property is always localized. It is not only about the property price, it is also about the legality of the property, the construction work. So there are much more complexities which is involved in the valuation of a property. So both the legal documents not being automated and not being available in many places, plus the valuation being largely done by the valuers, who also go by their individual judgment. So because of these factors, this sector has not evolved compared to any other lending. This has not still evolved. Largely, it is still fragmented. We still depend on the legal report and valuation report, which takes time. And the other problem is that the land is all about title and ownership. Many times the borrowers don't have the proper title, or they don't have the proper knowledge. So many times it takes a lot of time, because the borrowers take a lot of time to organize those documents. So to get those legal, we need all those linked documents, chain documents, and borrowers take a lot of time. So that is why also it gets delayed. So because of this extent of the process, there is a challenge. The other challenge is that if you look at the valuers, particularly since I also handle the smaller locations, the valuers are available largely in the cities, whereas the loans is happening across the country. So many times the valuer also takes 2 3 days to travel slightly distant location, which is 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers, and give a report. Same in case of lawyers, because adequate lawyers are not available in all small locations. So because of all this combination of factors, we have not been able to make that kind of journey. However, the journey has started a couple of years back, and it is moving quite fast, but still a long way to go.
And maybe just to quantify, given that there is a challenge and all, let's say, for example, from ideal state, today we are saying maybe 30, 40, 50,000 rupees is what we spend. Now, this is an astronomical number. You have to remember, you have to multiply for each bank, there'll be 10,000 odd disbursement happening. We're talking about crores and rupees. So, in your mind, let's say, what should be the ideal transition and what is the impact on the PNL, right? Finally, it's about everybody's looking at PNL, right? Reality is that all of that is inside. Let's say, for example, it's so irrelevant if paisa nahi bachta, top line nahi बढ़ता. So how it can have impact the top line, bottom line, generically, not over a bank, your bank, but generically for the market.
So I will just define this problem into two pieces. So there is an organized market which is primarily in the large cities. Now it has come to the tier 2, tier 3 cities also, where people go and buy a property from a builder. So there the legal and technical and everything is already done. There people are able to get the loan in a day or two, depending on their background and how do they provide the quickly documents. So there is not much of challenge in that, although there is a scope to improve that. The real challenge is where individuals who are constructing their own houses, or individuals who want a loan against property, where the legal and technical has to start afresh. There the real challenge remains. Then coming back to your question, I believe that if this cost can be one third, so today supposing let's assume 30 40,000 rupees, that will be really sustainable, and below that it's not possible, because at the end of the day, you are giving a property loan which is slightly higher ticket size than a personal loan. You definitely want to do the due diligence on the legal valuation and credit assessment a little more complicated, or little more complex compared to a small ticket personal loan. So if the cost can be one third, that will be really good.
Yeah, that saves so much money. So, Vivek, from your perspective, you work with a lot of entities in the market. So, What's your take on how this property data intelligence can help, and where does it fit in, right? How does it help the lender in improving the journeys and of course reducing? So at a high level, where the solution lies.
Yeah, so as Narendra sir was saying, because it's a high ticket loan and the risks are higher, right? And that's why the regulation are such that a valuer has to physically visit the property, right? He has to evaluate, he has to check the documents, he has to take pictures. A lawyer has to go check the ownership, right? Meet the owner. So I think those things would remain, and those are actually good for the industry. But there are the delays which happen because of that. I think the digitization journey or the digital transformation can reduce those delays, improve the tats, and improve the customer experience also. So, for example, take a look at desktop valuation, right? So, since the data was like now the data is ready, right? So, you before actually going for a physical valuation, you can pre-check through a quick desktop valuation how much this property is worth, because desktop valuation are in the range of around 85 to 90% accuracy, right? So you can pre-qualify that loan. You can actually tell the customer that this is the approximate range, right? Where you would get the home loan disbursed, right? You can qualify your leads better, and you spend money only on those which are like going ahead in the journey, where you have a principal approval from the consumer as well as from the credit team, right? So one aspect is that. Second is having, this is like a second opinion, right? So your physical valuer has given a opinion, right? But as Narendra sir was saying, that it is on his nuances, right? So it's like you can double check, you can avoid the risk of collision between the customer and the valuer, right? So by having this desktop valuation or the evaluation, you can avoid those risks. And third, which is more important, which is very interesting use case, which we are seeing a lot of traction within the industry, is a lender would have a loan portfolio, asset under management, right? So they have like given loans on thousands of properties. So by regulation, you have to revalue these properties every year, right? So if you are revaluing these properties, you can't spend that much money, right, of sending a physical valuer. So you can actually do it through a API where you revalue these properties, and lot many exciting opportunities come through this revaluation. So there are things like top up opportunities, right? So if the property value has increased and the customer is under penetrated, right? So you can actually give them top up loans or increase his limits. Similarly, they are if a customer has got a loan against property, so you can uh, actually increase the value. You can look at other types of loans, maybe a home interior or other things. So these are the things where this digital valuation service is being used today. Having said that, there are some companies which we are working on who are actually integrating it within their entire journey. So when a loan case comes within the LOS LMS, so they physically first check the valuation, then move the case forward to credit teams. And it's not just the valuation, it's not about that number alone. It is also about providing data to your credit decisioning team, right? So your team, which has to take a decision. So it takes a number. So let's say a property is valued 80 lakhs, but what is the associated data? What is the similar properties nearby? At what prices the listings are coming in? What prices registration is happening? What is the circle rate? So all of this data is now available through our platform and through some other platforms also in API format, where a better decision can be made by the credit teams. Same goes for title. You can because we have structured the IGR data, so you can get a 10-year, 20-year history of a title at the click of the button, right? So you can make a because of the advancement in AI, you can actually make a property chain out of that property registration. You can see the rental transactions based on the rental yield. You can decide the value of the property. So all of these advancements are happening. And maybe if we get time, I'll just show a small demo, maybe later in the call, Samir, where how our platform works and how you can get access to this. By the way, all the people who have actually joined this seminar, they can request a complimentary access to our platform. They have to just fill in the feedback form. Can someone send the link in the feedback form? And based on that, we'll provide a complimentary access with some credit so that you can try out and see how these reports are working.
Perfect. Perfect. So maybe the team can share. So the team has just shared the form. You can fill it up. And again, the feedback on the session as well. I think we are looking at real depth out here. And then there's the area nobody clicks on, double clicks on. It's a complicated area to put in. I think it'll be useful for you to have access to this. So now in this move to your question, your point, right? So I think you talk about HL app and all that, but there are variations within it, right? Somebody who's doing a 1.5 lakhs I don't know, micro lab, and then somebody says 5 to 15, and then there are higher ranges, and then affordable housing and all of that. So within these, so one, you maybe quickly define these and then come back saying that how the data requirements change with each one of them from a property perspective, right? Maybe even legal perspective, what are the variations which can happen? Because when people talk to me, they say, इसमें भी चलेगा तो उसमें क्यों नहीं कर लेते? But variations, locales make a lot of impact. So what if?
So there is a segment which we called micro lab, which is typically below 10 lakh kind of loan. Here the property, sometimes the local authorities permissions may not be there, proper permissions may not be there, but it's not illegal. And the property will be simple structure. Then the customer profile also is quite different. Then we have a segment which is broadly we can say from 10-15 lakh to 1 crore. Then above 1 crore, these are the broad segments. How I would define it is a very simple way. Today, whether the borrower wants a 2 lakh loan or he wants a 5 crore loan, as long as he's an individual, the borrower has a credit bureau score, irrespective of the ticket size. As a financial institution, what I'm expecting that whether it's a micro lab or it's a medium lab or it's a large lab or it's a large home loan, it doesn't matter. What I'm expecting is that if we can have a property score, when I'm saying a property score, the property score should actually first show the title and ownership. How whether the ownership is clear, how many linked deeds are there, who is the owner, that is one. Number two, it should show that what is the property prices as per the nearby geolocations, so that we know broadly whatever is the price without going to the place. Third, it will show based on satellite image or geotagging whether the property looks to be having all the permissions or not having permissions. Then it should talk about the liquidity of the property based on velocity of sales of government data. Because if a registration is there and the price is there, because banks, one of the key problems which you face is the liquidity of the property. The property might be valued, but it doesn't sell. Then it should show about the property linkage, whether there are charges or not, so that the fraud can be prevented. So, lastly and more importantly, it should also reflect on the micro market intelligence, which is possible. That let's say in a particular city there is a slowdown or the inventories are not moving. Some 1 or 2 points on that. So, supposing these 5-6 points are covered largely, and a property score comes in, that will be really useful for the banker, because when we give 2 lakh rupees or it's a 2 crore, it's all about the scale. Supposing I give 100 2 lakh loan or I give a 2 crore loan, the amount is 2 crore. Every money is important for us to recover and get back. So if there can be a property score based on these parameters, which includes both legal valuation, and based on that finally some score comes in, and which helps us to judge. So if the score is higher, the pricing will be lower, or probably we will be lending, or each lender can decide what score they want to take. That would be really helpful, and that will actually open a large gamut of the market, and it will make the property assessment much simpler. Like today, the basic credit assessment is very simple because of credit bureau. That's the entry point. This can be the entry point for the for the property valuation and legal. So that's what I would say. Instead of differentiating across ticket size, I would say it should be for all the ticket size.
So maybe a link question is that Naren, for so long, lab was not flavor of the day. Now it's flavor of the day, right? Every VC, every P is only looking at lab, micro lab, and all of that. Just quickly tell me why this slightly a higher yielding product is more relevant, because many of them are still launching. Many microfinance companies are now getting in, given that they have a better leeway. So and I know that many participants are from that background. It'll be good for us to get that answer if it's possible.
So you see, the yield is corresponding to the risk. So if you are giving a smaller ticket loan, the income profile, the assessment, there is a risk because you are doing the assessment not based on ITR or some documentation. So these are undocumented. That is one. Second is that the property liquidity will be little lower in general compared to a slightly larger property. So third is that many places the credit history may not be there, or the credit history might be slightly inferior. So as long as the lending institution understands this risk, assesses it properly, and price it properly, there is no problem. And the fourth is that all of us must be very much aware that lending is not based on property. Lending is based on the ability and intention to pay, and collateral is secondary. So each lender, as long as they are assessing the primary things of credit, which is ability to pay and intention to pay, then there is no problem. Because as you would have seen in some of the microfinance loans and others, the borrower need to have the ability to pay. So over leverage is also one of the things which needs to be looked into in case of a smaller ticket loan. And lenders should not get swayed in by the property value. They should see that whether the customer has the ability to pay or not. Intention to pay is of course seen by his background or bureau scores, or through references. So that is what I would say. Although it looks very attractive from outside, but it is equally complex. The properties are complex, the legal is complex. It's not easy to get a high yield and not take risk. So if you are able to manage your risk and get high yield, then nothing like that.
And I was looking at a strategy of a large bank, very large bank, even today, actually, just today. They're moving towards, so they have very high home loan portfolio, but they're moving towards LAP because of the yield. So I think the direction many banks have taken long back. So this is where the profitability is higher. Maybe at this point in time, I urge all of you guys to ask questions. All the next set of questions belong to you, and you keep sharing your questions. I know there are seven already existing, and I'll continue to ask these questions as we go forward. Um, I think, and also as we said that this whole platform where I think you can get access to all the information that is available. It's a complimentary access. I'll just show it to so that there is no confusion because you'll be thinking that there's something else. So yeah, so basically there's a platform access complimentary access provided here. Again, the idea is that you can't if you don't know how to don't use it, then you don't know how it works, right? So the idea, I think when me and Vivek were discussing, we said let's give them access for some time and let them choose, right? There's a value, right? Because this is a very new to the market. No, not too many guys do in the market. So I think this platform you can have access to. All you need to do is just we have sent the link across to you. Register, and of course nothing else, right? I think it's complimentary for everybody who gives us feedback. So Vivek, at this point in time, you can maybe quickly show a demo of the platform and how it is usable because seeing is believing.
Sure, Samir. Let me just jump straight away into it. So there are like various solutions in this platform which we have aggregated, right? So once you get access to this, I think you will be emailed next week all these accesses with some credits so that you can order some reports. Okay. So essentially, if you see, we have aggregated various data points and built tools over top of it. So we start with a basic real estate dashboard, then you have transaction search, desktop valuation. We also facilitate physical valuation, although this is not in full force as of now. Litigation search, title search, all of this, they are API available. Even if you don't want to go for API, you don't want to go for portal, you can actually embed a widget onto your platform, okay, like iframe, and you can order valuation or title search reports from there. And I'll just go through one by one. Probably I'll just take 3-4 minutes, Amir, if you permit.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So first, as Naren sir was saying, so we have built a real estate dashboard where you can actually see a lot of data related to real estate. Okay, so you can look into various cities, like this is entire Mumbai, but you can search for a micro market. What are the location rates which are going on? Who are the top, which are the top projects, top developer? So this is all registration data, right? So you can see it by location, by project, by developer, right? Which are the most expensive projects. So what is happening in the market in terms of registration? Same thing we have actually also extended to a map based thing. So if you go to the last one, which is a map based, so you search for a location and you just zoom in into that location. So I just type Andheri. So you see what my market rates, at what rate transactions are happening. How is the supply in terms of listings? Okay, what is the median price of the listing? And you can see it by project, by locality, what are the nearby localities, at what prices they are trending, what is the rental supply, right? And if you actually zoom in, you see all of these are buildings. Okay, so you can actually go into any of the buildings and you can see the transactions and everything here. So this is about the analytics and dashboard. We are improving it. We are building lot many other data layers like zoning, like roads, like road weights. All of that would come into this platform eventually. But what is interesting, the other tools, I'll just quickly go through one by one. So in transaction search, you can actually, for any project, okay, and these are available across various cities. So Mumbai, Samir, maybe give me a name of a project, anything. Maybe I'll just,
You can, yeah,
let's
okay.
go with this.
Well,
So for any project, you can see the various transactions which have been registered, right? All, of course, these are logged and these will be unlocked based on the credits. You can filter by tower and all, right? So, and you can actually get an index document or agreement copy on request. So all of the transactions registered in these cities, they have been digitized, except for Gurgaon. Gurgaon, I think we are facing some problem, but all of the other cities, the transactions are available. So this is a basic transaction search which you can do, and you can actually filter it by a new sale or resale, right? Both primary and secondary. The next is the desktop valuation. So this is, as I said, this is available both on API as well as on the portal. So you can actually order a desktop valuation report by filling in some parameters. Some are mandatory, like the address of the property and the unit number and so, and what kind of facing. And you can actually pull out, so this data, so the data is available instantaneously on API, but if you want to do, if so, we have in-house valuers, they do eyeballing of that report and they augment some data sometime. So that is typically like 30 minutes to 1 hour, where you get a complete valuation report like this. But if you want this data to be available within your platform, you can provide it by API. So if you see, this is the value of the property, then what is the rental value, what is the government value, right? Then how is the market supply trending, the registrations in this society, the rentals which are happening, the comparables, right? Which projects along with this, and then the comps of like similar property registered, right? And then the listings which are coming onto various platforms. So all of this you get within half an hour mostly. And if you want the data is available on the click of the button. So this is about the valuation. The next is the title, right? Where you can simply input some parameter, order a title search report, and then it gives you a chain of the documents. Okay, let me open anything. This is not okay. So it gives a chain of the documents like this, right? Chain of the transactions along with the document itself. Okay. So again, this required AI to actually link each of these transactions, and the address variations within the country, right? So a lot of intelligence has gone into building this tool. Apart from this, we have something called as project monitoring report, where you can actually, it's not available in here, but based of a project, what transactions are happening, what is the RERA velocity, how many units are sold, who are the lenders, and by their market share, who are lending to that project. So all that is also available. The final thing which Naren sir was also talking about, it's not about the property value, it's about the intention, right? So we have a very interesting tool called as property asset search. Okay, it is relevant not only to uh, the housing loan industry, but probably people who are actually giving business loans. But people who are taking business loan, they have some properties in their name, right? So if you have a consent from the person, right, and you have a person name plus his PAN credentials and a consent, so we can actually give you the property registered in that person's name or that firm's name. Okay, so even if he's not putting property as a collateral, but you can assess the repayability of that loan by assessing that how many property this guy owns, right? And if he has a mortgage and how many mortgages are happening on those properties, right? So all of this is available. So I would encourage all of you to use this within the credit period, whatever credits you get, and try to order a few valuation report, title search report. Although our team is slightly smaller in size, so it might take us a few days to fulfill all the requests, but we'll make sure that we'll do a reasonable job out of this. So Samir, this was gist
Thank
of
you.
the platform.
Thank you. Thank you. So we went very micro. Now I'll actually go back to macro, right? But for the moment, let me see if there are questions which need to be answered. Maybe Vivek, if your team can respond to some of the very specific questions
Yeah,
around that, or maybe we'll take it offline. Uh, but
maybe you
but
can just pick up. You can pick up one or two questions. Probably we can. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe somebody had raised hands. I think some of you have raised hands as well. I'll be happy to take direct questions as well. So maybe I know it's just we don't know what question Dharmesh is going to ask, but let's go with. So Dharmesh, I'm putting you, giving you access to speak. Go ahead and ask your question, please, Dharmesh. Dharmesh, you can speak. No? Okay, no problems. I think he's
I think
only
it's showing mute. We have to probably unmute from your side, Samir.
I've done that. So maybe let's go with Harsh. Please go ahead and ask your question and you can unmute yourself. Yeah, go ahead, please. Yes.
Yeah, so
So maybe Harsh, just speak out, give us your background and then share the question, please.
yeah, sure. I'm Yash Atwal, currently working as a product manager at Lentra AI. We also work, we are you can say us as a TSP. We work on to digital lending solutions in HL, Lab, MSME, personal loans, all type of loan products. I wanted to ask that the demo showcased by Square Yards. So when you say about valuation of a property. So I think most of the data is being sourced out from the and scraped from the RERA websites, right? Like how much is the sale of the property, etc.
No, Yash. So basically, there are four sets of data. One is the property registration data, which is coming from the IGR. Second is the listings, right? So people are putting listings on various marketplaces like us, 99 Acre, Magic Trick, so on and so forth, right? So they are putting property prices there as well, which is their expected or asking price. So that is second set of data. The third is, as you said, RERA. So how much the builder has put the price and what is his sales velocity. Okay, from RERA, the prices don't come, but you get an indication about other legal aspects of that project, right? And the fourth is because of our real estate pedigree, we do a lot of transactions ourselves, right? So we know the pulse of the market. Okay, and we maintain those property prices by various builders. So we triangulate all of these set of data, and then we apply some regression techniques on this, and then we come up with a valuation, which a physical valuer would also do like this. Only difference is that he would also visit the property and do measurements, take photographs. So that all we don't do as of now. But other than that, whatever data is required, we provide that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Maybe we'll take more questions, but I'll go back to Narendra on a macro question. Narendra, from a going forward perspective, where do you think this lab micro lab market is going? What is the growth and what are the various levers we should know about? Because as I see, so many of the player participants here are actually from a lab and micro lab business. And otherwise, why will they come here, right? So it'd be good for us to get a perspective on how this market is going to grow and what are the levers to be applied for the players to sort of see and be part of the growth?
See, I expect around 15%, 20% kind of growth, depending on
Wow.
how the overall trade market is growing. But at the moment, the loans which are below 6 lakh, which is between 2 to 6 lakh, is showing stress. If you look at the bureau data and if you look at the market information, it is showing stress. So that's a segment where one needs to be a little careful about. The loans which are above 15 lakh kind of loans, it's going on at a similar pace like which used to happen in the past. And the loan growth largely depends on the economic growth. So if the economic growth goes, growth happens like GDP goes by 6-7%, then probably this will go around 15%. But if GDP is around 8%, it might be around 20%, because there's a lot of interdependence on this. And this is a very good segment, provided the credit assessment is quite robust. And as I've showed earlier, property is a comfort, credit assessment is the primary. As long as those principles are maintained, there is enough growth and there is enough opportunity for everybody in the space.
And let's say some lender has to tide going forward. What will be the mantra for them to build this up? Let's say
So
somebody is getting in, as an entrepreneur or early stage. What is the mantra for building this up?
So a lot of friends, juniors, and they're starting NBFCs and they ask us. So this. So the question was just saying that, don't forget your fundamentals. So the fundamentals of lending is ability to pay and intention to pay. Intention to pay. There is nothing beyond that in credit assessment. So whether there is a pressure from investors, whether there is a growth pressure, don't forget your fundamentals. And property is a comfort. Property will not help you in case of a difficulty, because selling a property is not so easy. It takes time getting buyers. There is a cost and time involved. So focus on the fundamentals. There is enough scope to grow, and slow and steady wins the race.
I know slow and steady wins the race. Or maybe it may not win the race, but is in the race, right? Otherwise, you are gone for life. Yeah, so maybe in this point in time, we will take more questions from the ecosystem. So, and all those who have written the questions, I'll pick them up, or maybe you can raise it right now. So, over to you, Sandeep. Go ahead with your question, please.
Hey, hi, Samir.
You should
Thank you.
just introduce yourself. Just introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Sandeep. I head the alliances for Hot Food Technology Solutions. We are one of the leading players uh, in terms of our lending solutions. So, Samir, thank you for bringing all the people, all the good people into the platform. So, congratulations to you and your team for putting this up.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will put it very succinctly. Vivek, um, I mean, the solution was, interesting. And we generally, kind of have tie-ups with, integrators like you, third-party integrators like you, to offer the solution to the NBFCs and the banks. So what is the scale of the solution in terms of, in how many cities are these services available? Could you please throw some light on that?
Yes, Sandeep. So, see, within Square Yards, we focus majorly on metro cities. Okay. So, all metro cities except maybe for Kolkata and Gurgaon. So, we are pretty much covered
Okay.
in terms of our solutions. Um, For the tier 2, tier 3, there are some states where we are like very good. For example, Maharashtra, even the village level we have covered for Maharashtra because the property data is much more structured and organized. For
Okay.
other states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, we are reaching there. So it's a journey for us as well. Maybe so we have put an aggressive target that within 6 months we should be able to cover around 8 to 10 states. Uh, and but as of now also we can provide you pretty much all of these states, but there might be some different tats for each of these states. Okay, so Maharashtra might be, let's say, half an hour or 1 hour. For other states it might take probably a day, a working day. Okay, so but this is being serviced based on requests only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. So thank you for your response.
Yeah. So still have time for a few more questions. So let me take it from, say, Harish. Harish, over to you. Ask your question, please, and just introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi, also. Thanks, first of all, for organizing this lovely session. So I'm Harish, head a loan originating company called Capital Solutions. We work with builders and we deal with property-based loans. We're a distributor. So one challenge that we see is, for example, when we work with builders, where we organize finance for the builder, and one of the banker has already done the due diligence, valuation, and legal, and respective customers who come and take loans, even though there's APF done with, say, few banks, whenever there's a choice that the customer wants to make, it's always a repetition of work, the same valuation and the legal gets repeated again and again when there's a new banker involved. How can we, as an ecosystem, how can we make sure that the due diligence, valuation, and legal is not repeated and we can pick from what was already done earlier by one of the banker? That's the question.
Yeah. Naren sir, you want to take this or should I take?
So there is a talk among banks through IBA to bring a commonality in case of legal processes, so that will be a standardized legal report, as you rightly said. So once that is in progress, so I believe that will be acceptable to all banks, and it will reduce cost of everybody, and also it will improve that. What I understand that there is a talk, but I don't know whether that is getting concluded immediately or I don't know. But there is definitely a talk about it to have a standardized legal document, so that every for every financiers, there is no differences, and it makes it simple and uncomplicated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And anybody else who wants to ask, we can raise the hand again. I know we are almost at the breaching point, but we'll continue for a few minutes. I think I'm almost seeing almost 190 odd people are still on the call. So we'll continue for a few more minutes. So maybe also for all those who are reaching out to my team outside as well. What we are saying is that you will have access to this platform for a few days, few months, depending on once you fill the feedback form. Please go ahead and fill the feedback form. We also run a WhatsApp group where we are very focused on HL Lab, so you can join that as well because that's the interaction point for us, which is where the ecosystem is learning from each other. I think at this point in time, I think I have just got one more person joining us and asking question. Senthil, please go ahead with the question. Please just introduce yourself and we'll take the question.
Hi, Samir.
Hi.
See, this is Senthil from Northern Arc Capital. I am handling fraud risk operations for Northern Arc. Okay, my question is that with respect to the fraud risk management perspective, how can we build a property score using this data? Is it possible to build a property score with respect to fraud risk management itself?
Now you want to take, or Vivek, you want to take, because I'm not the right guy for it.
Yeah,
Vivek, you want to take this? Yeah.
Yeah. So Sandil, I think the question is very pertinent, and as Naren sir was also saying that similar to CIBIL score, we should have a property score or property worthiness. So there are some startups who are already working in this direction, and maybe as an industry we should come together and I think it's more on the lender side. The credit assessment teams should come together on a platform and tell us as proptechs or fintechs like what all it takes to build that property score, right? From our side, we can do some algos and some calculations and show you some property score, but I think we are also not too much aware of how underwriting credit decisioning is done, right? So the data is all there, whichever is available, and many more data points can be actually made available on the top of this. For example, um, the zoning, right, or the uh, condition of the property with the current advancement of AI, right? If you take a few photographs of a property, right, or if you ask the customer to upload a few photographs and AI can assess the condition of that property, right? The legal checks based on the government databases can also be digitized, and then you need to assign a score or a credit worthiness of that property. So I would say that the industry has to develop some framework. Maybe, as Naren sir was saying, that there is some efforts already going in this direction from a RBI perspective. So hopefully we'll see some action.
Yeah, thanks, Vivek. Thanks, Samir.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we've just crossed 4 o'clock. I know my worry is that while I have a challenge of participants being there, or whether I'll also have a challenge when the speakers will leave because I have time. But with this, I pause now. I think personally, this is an area where I'm also learning. This session and all the interaction I've had with Vivek and Narendra were all about learning in the ecosystem. Just information is not very widely available on HL Lab. We actually wrote a report last year. Maybe the team share the link. We wrote a report last year on HL Lab, and we realized that there's so much improvement is possible. We as ecosystem can work together, but information is not as widely available, right? You think about PI business, and that's layer where the information is. But I think with this ecosystem coming in, I think we can jointly create value to the market. We just need to ensure that today, if we lose almost 1% in the processing cost, which is say for 50 lakh loan, must be around 50,000 rupees. We are burning capital on all sides, doesn't add to the top line, doesn't add to the bottom line, just cost and more cost. You may also have a productivity issue at the sales end, right? Because the sales guy is actually struggling that which guy to go after. He may make wrong trade decisions. He may also take a wrong legal and wrong property. But if you have a good property insights upfront, you can actually save that much of cost. Now, you may say how much it will add. Maybe it's 3% here, 5% here. But if you cumulatively look at it, industry is looking at excessive cost of, let's say, getting spent on this process, almost like maybe 30, 40,000 crores. We are talking about that much of wastage, which happens if not very efficient. And that's where is the value will come. So I think this session was all about that. And property intelligence is the critical part which we looked at. But I'm sure there are more such areas. So you can actually share more questions back to us, and we'll come back with more sessions. With this, I thank everyone, and thank you, Naren, for joining us at such a short time. And I think you have been a great. I think for me, from a lending perspective, you are a mentor. You teach us all the time, and thanks, Vivek, for sort of creating this platform. Honestly, I'm saying not friend perspective, but I'm saying the fact is nobody's solved for it. I think this is something which not many guys look at. Such a boring subject, right? I think thank you for solving for it. It might just change the way credit happens in the country. So thank you, Naren. Thank you,
Thanks,
Vivek.
Samir. Thanks, all the audience. Thank you.
Thanks, Naren sir. Thanks, Samir. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Bye. Bye.